Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business. It is Thursday, and Week 6 is on tap. Wow, this season is literally flying by. We got a big game tonight. We got the New York stinking Giants against the Philadelphia Eagles in a game which, I hate to say it, but I think the loser goes down the toilet bowl. This literally is the toilet bowl game. I won't say their season is over, but you have to start questioning how far they're going to go. So we'll get to that game on another video and things. But one of the things I like to do, I like to be different on this channel. I like to talk about things to make you go, I hadn't thought about that. Give you a different angle and a different perspective than what you see with the talking heads. One of the things I think that's great about YouTube, whether you like me or Law Nation or Cowboys Legend, or if you like Philly 500, is you can cater to the exact stuff that you want. When ESPN is covering the NFL, it's a broad stroke. You don't get the coverage, unless you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, of course, that really talks about everything with the Cowboys, although it's kind of biased. If you're a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, you're not getting that much unless it's bad news on them, for example. So by coming to YouTube and, working with guys like me and things like that, you kind of get something that's a little more personal. And speaking of personal, my other channel is back up and I'm beginning to put some videos on there. So I'm kind of spreading the wealth between that and things like that. So make sure you click the bell again if you want to get notified, if you really like to follow everything that is Joe Boo. And also Facebook. Be sure to like my Facebook page, Joe Boo Sports Report. That way, if something ever happens, you'll find me either on Facebook, on the Joe Boo Sports Report, or Cowboy Joe Boo. They're not going to silence me as much as they try. But I have an interesting theory because I started thinking and going, what if Drew Brees is now the all-time yards leader in the NFL? Hats off to him. And you have to look at Sean Payton as being a genius, a quarterback whisperer, quarterback guru, flipping Yoda, if you may. Because, see, he took Drew Brees, a team that the Chargers pretty much gave up on. He had not too bad of a career going in San Diego, but they had, other aspirations. And he had a shoulder injury that they thought might be a career ender. So they dumped him. So what if Miami, who was the first spot he stopped off, had taken him as opposed to letting him go to New Orleans, where he hooked up with Sean Payton? Because Sean Payton originally coming from Dallas, that's right, we had Sean Payton here working under Bill Parcells. And that is, my friends, a coaching tree. Sean Payton, before he became a head coach, worked under one of the greatest coaches out there, a guy who was famous for building teams. He may have only won Super Bowls with the Giants, but he taught Bill Belichick. When he left a place, they were in better condition than when he started. You can, in fact, look and say the team that Jason Garrett inherited was built by Bill Parcells, and he lived off of that. But be that as it may, Sean Payton was one of those guys that did his dues and learned from Bill Parcells. What if Tony Romo had gone with Sean Payton to New Orleans? I think you could have been looking at Tony Romo being Drew Brees. Because as we look through, because here's the thing, I know people are like, come on, Tony Romo is not Drew Brees. But hold up for a second. Hold up. Because let's look at the numbers, okay? I don't know how well you guys can see. Let me try and zoom in here a little bit more. Let's look at the numbers. When Drew Brees was playing, he started 2 years before Tony Romo did. His first year, he played in, one game, okay? 15 completions out of 27. Well, let's forget the first year. He had 221 yards. Second year, 60% completion rate, 3,200 yards, okay? He was a starter for the season. Not bad. 17 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. Average. The next year, 2,100 yards on 11 starts, 11 TDs, 15 interceptions. Again, not real good. Third year as a starter, he had 27 TDs, 7 interceptions. Definitely started getting a little bit better. And his last year in San Diego, 24 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Now, there's nothing that shows you there in those first 5 years in San Diego that says this guy is going to break all the records. He's going to have more touchdown passes by the time his career is over and more yards than anybody. There's nothing there that says that. But then he went to New Orleans under Sean Payton. Immediately, he has almost 1,000 more yards. 1,000 more. 2 more touchdowns better than his, two more touchdowns than the year before, and cut down the interceptions. And as you start looking at that, from that point on, look at that. Right here. 4,400 yards, 4,400 yards, 5,000 yards, 4,300, 4,600, 57, 5,100 yards. Clearly, I mean, you just go through this. Clearly, working under Sean Payton and under that offense was a major jump for him. His QBR went through the roof. His completion percentages went through the roof in comparison to what he was doing early with the Chargers. Now let's think about Tony Romo. Tony Romo, undrafted, Drew Brees was drafted in the second round, didn't sniff the field his first couple years. He played end guard tackle. Sit at the end of the bench, guard the water bucket, and tackle anybody that comes near it. Forgive me. I'll get back to that call. But then finally, in 2007, he really got an opportunity, 2006, got an opportunity to get on the field. 2,900 yards, took over for Drew Bledsoe. The next year, 4,200 yards. And his numbers were pretty much consistent. Now, he had the opportunity of being under Sean Payton to be able to watch and to learn from him. Because as you start looking at the numbers, underneath Jason Garrett, who came in 2007, you didn't see anything major change. You had this one season right here in 2012 where he had almost 5,000 yards. But basically, everything is still pretty much about flat. He got a little bit better the last couple of years and things, but you don't see any major growth in there. And it's my argument that basically what he learned from Sean Payton is what carried him through on here. You did not see a major bulk up of the numbers. You didn't see a major bulk up of the numbers. Let me send a message here. You didn't see a major jump up of the numbers like you did with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And hypothetically, it'd be amazing to see where Tony Romo, because Tony Romo clearly had the skill set. He had the arm. I don't believe he had the offense to go with him. And I believe Tony Romo ended up making up for a lot of the deficits in this offense. And there's a lot of times where you look at a quarterback and you wonder, could they be a good quarterback in another system? Take Steve Young. Steve Young, who played in the USFL, then went to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay said, meh, not worth it. Let him go. Steve Young. He goes under Bill Walsh and Mike Seifert, multiple Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. You have to wonder, had Tampa Bay not released him, would he still be a Hall of Famer? And that, my friends, is the difference in coaching. I don't believe we have a quarterback whisperer like a Sean Payton who did his dues by working under a great head coach. When we look at Jason Garrett's resume, Jason Garrett coached in Miami under Nick Saban, who said, bye-bye, I'm going back to college, enough of this. Then came to Dallas as the offensive coordinator under Wade Phillips, where he kind of undermined Wade Phillips and took over the job. So when you look at him, you try and figure out, where did you learn to be a head coach? What's on your resume? What's on your resume that says you did your time, that you paid your dues? I don't see it, because you'll see coaching trees where you'll see a Bill Parcells that has all of these great coaches that studied and learned under him that are successful. And unfortunately, even though he's got his Princeton education, I don't believe he's been to the school of hard knocks of football. And that, my friends, lies the problem for a Dak Prescott. You got Jason Garrett, a career backup, with a Scott Linehan who has been basically underneath nobody's, with a quarterback coach who's been underneath a guy who's been underneath nobody's. You can say it's all Dak Prescott, and I'm not saying that Dak Prescott is a great quarterback or isn't going to be a great quarterback. All I can say is you have to look at everything, especially coaching. And I believe Tony Romo, had he been under Sean Payton his whole career, could have been Drew Brees. You can argue if you like, but I look forward to the comments. But as always, friends, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And let me call Frankie back, and I'll see you guys.